Good evening and welcome to 40 Days Bible Study number 203. This is 40 Days Study on Matthew chapter 6, verse 24, looking at how much is that? 77. This is our 77th Bible study in the Matthew series, as we will be looking. I didn't share the screen yet. Right. Oh, yeah, I did. We'll be looking at this verse on screen. No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. This little f here tells us a little something that it could also mean mamon, a Semitic word for money or possessions. We'll do a little study on mamon as well, and you'll realize it's not as significant as some people will try to make it out to be. All we are doing is verse 24 tonight. I did not get to do anything more, so hopefully next week we'll have a lot more covered. Now, in terms of this, I just want to look back for a second and remind everyone that we are still studying Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. Okay? We started that, I don't know when, but we're still in the Sermon on the Mount. And the message at this point is clearly single-hearted devotion to God. You can't serve God and mammon. You can't serve God and, in this case, money, something else. This is an important verse that should destroy many sermons before they start. This verse should change many preachers' speeches before they are spat out, because it's been reduced to a nice saying that the biggest offenders will pronounce. It is left in a long closed cupboard of often said but never practiced instruction. What I mean by this is, this sounds nice, everybody knows you can't serve God and mammon. And people who preach it, people who walk around like regular folks will preach and talk about it. You know, the holy people will talk and say, yes, you can't serve God and mammon. I don't serve God and mammon, I serve God alone. That's what they'll say. That's a siren if you all hear that. And many people say it, but not many people will live it. And I'm on the preacher's case first, because many preachers will preach this from a stage, not a pulpit, but from a stage in front of thousands of people, whether it's in one occasion, thousands, or over several occasions, building up to thousands, sorry. But many preachers will preach this, and that's all it is. They preach it. Nobody lives it, not even the preachers themselves. And I mean this because you all know I'm always on the case of people who claim to be children of God, leaders in the house of God, but their first purpose is money. And I've seen this. Take the money out of preaching, and you'll see who's really dedicated. Hold on. I know some people out there is like, this is the only way these preachers make money. Fine. Give them a regular job and take the pay out of preaching and see if they'll continue. And in most cases, they can't. Not can't because, oh, well, expenses are too high. They have to. No. They can't because they will dare not give half as much time to preaching and preparation for preaching. And I'm not even talking about the ones who go online to just copy off Sermon Central or rip off other people, just watch a video and just rip it off. No, I'm talking about people who pretend to study the word. They still won't. Many people like to say this verse, or at least a message from this verse, to validate themselves and ease their greedy consciences. It's like a person in an abusive relationship who will deny being in an abusive relationship or refuse to see that they're in an abusive relationship, and they'll never leave it. A person that is serving self-interest and money over God's instructions will never see himself as serving those things instead of God. Because I guess we lie to ourselves. A parent who is unable to see his or her child as a bad child. You just can't see the child as being bad. A person in an abusive situation, well, he's not so bad all the time. People are blind to themselves, I guess. You see, introspection is generally hard. Introspection, looking in, looking at yourself, it's generally hard. But introspection is even harder when it requires seeing a weakness or a flaw. I can't see mistakes that I am making because I'm so good at seeing everybody else's mistakes. I may not be mentally capable of handling the fact that I have a mistake or a flaw. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that is the case with many people. They are unable to look at self and see, oh, you are a failure here, 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 and here. Not because they can't see those failures, because they will see them in everybody else. But they can't look at self because mentally, emotionally, they can't process it. Yes, they have issues. But that's what the word is here for us to be objective and view self and others, judge by the word, the unchanging standard of God's word. We tend to make excuses to defend problems because it's mentally very hard to make necessary changes for improvement. Introspection requires a great deal of effort, and it doesn't get easier as time and skill is developed. So it's not like you get better at introspection when you practice it more. I say you don't get better because it gets harder. Why does it get harder? It gets harder to identify tougher things. So if I have a problem with stealing, it might be easy to spot. If I have a problem with drugs, that might be easier to spot. But after I deal with those things, I might have a problem with lust or pride or gossip. That'll be harder to spot. So if it was hard to spot my drinking problem, my drug problem, it will be much harder, especially the pride. It will be much harder to spot the pride problem. Sin of the mind is easy to overlook because we'll tell ourselves, yeah, that was just one moment. Turns out that one moment lasted like hours. Or that one moment has us judging everything and everyone by the wrong measure. So introspection, hard to start and hard to continue. This verse here in Matthew chapter 6 takes us back to verses 19 and 20, where we're told not to lay up treasures on earth. We're told to lay up treasures in heaven. We can't serve God, treasures in heaven, and serve money, treasures on earth at the same time. If we look at the words, because we'll do some root word looking. Serve. I chose serve. The word for serve, this is duolane. Duolane. This word, sorry, I said that wrong. Duoluo, not duolu. Duoluo. I couldn't read it right. Let me show you all that again. Duoluo. Well, this would be duoluin. The root for it is dual. I can't say it right. The word is dual, right? Dual. Dual means to be in bondage, to serve, or enslaved. In this verse in particular, there are several meanings that would apply. To be a slave, to serve, to do service, to yield obedience, to obey someone's commands, and give the service that he is due, to yield or give oneself up to. All of these terms apply to this particular verse. No one can serve two masters. It makes it clear to us that the word serve here is not a casual service based on a person's mood. I feel like doing what you want, so I'll do it, God. It's not about casual service. It's an obligated and committed service. In this little verse, I want to make sure everybody here gets it. Casual service to God is not a thing. If you casually serve God, I guarantee you, friend, you're not serving God. And if you're dumb enough to think, I can continue casually serving God because I'm a good person, and I'll live in the world because I'm a good person, stop. You can't serve both. You either serve God or whatever else you're serving. You see, if one serves two opposite masters, it's clear that you will hate one and love the other. Now, let me get this clear. In this verse, the context again tells us you can't serve two masters. These are not two similar masters. These are two polar opposite masters, diametrically opposed masters. They both want control of you, but the reasons they want control of you are totally opposite. God wants control of you for perfecting of the faith, for his love, his glory. Money or anything else wants us to follow for self-indulgence, which would lead us to hell. I say it's clear that you will hate one and love the other. Some people don't always get that. They're like, why can't I serve the two? I could love money and love God. Forget for a second, the root of all evil is love of money, right? Forget that for a second. I could love money, I could love God, and I could reconcile that. I'm skilled like that because I'm an idiot who's stupid enough to believe himself. Here's why you can't. You see, I can't work for the law, like as a police officer, and serve criminals that break the law and love both at the same time. If I love the law, I will hate what the criminals are doing. If I love the criminals and what they're doing and I serve them, I will hate the law because it will get inconvenient for my service to the law, to the criminals. You can't serve two opposites. Lawyers that do this, and I know some people say, well, what about lawyers? They serve, they supposed to be, agents of the court of some kind or whatever, and they serve criminal clients. Lawyers that do this have a love for money, and their love for money trumps both the law and their clients, which means they will serve whichever side has more money or offers them more money. That means neither the law nor the criminal they serve money. Now, that's an example that is very much like a prostitute. But for real people, right? None of us here are cops or lawyers. Real people, bear in mind, most people are prostitutes, and I am not denying that at all. I will stand up and say most people are prostitutes. It's going to be a simple matter of which master you actually serve. One is a gross means to an end, being a prostitute, chasing the money. The other will be the true passion that motivates. Now, you can be a regular person with a true passion for money, which will lead you to do gross things to get money, like a prostitute. And some people say, no, I don't do gross things. I just work at my job. Some people work at their job so hard, they don't tend to their families, as God will have you lead your family. I'm too busy working, so I can't lead my family in family devotions. We can't sit and share the word of God. I'm too busy trying to make money, so I don't have time to drop my kids to school, and I'll pay somebody to do it. That's cool. But when the kids come home, I don't have time to spend with them because I'm too busy making money. You're giving up what you're supposed to be doing to honor and serve God as a father or mother to chase after money. This is wrong. Luther said that having money and wealth is not forbidden or sinful, but we must not let money and wealth be our master. Instead, we should make money and wealth serve us. And we must be their master. This is wise. I've seen memes and posts where people say, poor people work for money. Rich people have money work for them. That makes sense. And that's what Luther is saying here. We should make our money and wealth serve us. I'm appalled at the number of times I read and saw commentators about this verse talk about this verse not forbidding wealth and riches. I'm appalled because it's just how stupid some people can be when they read this. The commentators felt, you know what? I know how dumb people are. I need to express this obvious thing again and again and again. That's why I was appalled. I'm not appalled at the commentators. I'm appalled at the stupidity of the average human who will watch this and say, when I read this, God don't want people to be rich. I am always one of the first to say we're not likely to ever be rich as a general population of children of God on the earth. I am one. But God never forbade riches. It's obvious here Jesus is not hating on riches, but it is good for us to be reminded how stupid people can be. In that vein, I'm declaring without a doubt that it's okay. It is okay for a child of God to be wealthy. I need to say it too. It's okay for you to be wealthy. There's nothing wrong if you get rich. However, you know that has to come. However, the verse is clear in saying your wealth must not rule you. I will add that your wealth must be honorably earned. No alcohol, cigarette, drug, gun sales to make it, no prostitution to make it, no gambling to make it, no OnlyFans to make it, no scams or other crooked money-making schemes. They are not allowed. If you earn your wealth, it must be through your labor, use of your land, use of your machinery, use of your own enterprising skills. If I have to tell any of the mature people among you what crooked earnings is, please take the expression on my face multiplied as to how stupid you are. Let's go on to mammon. Some people have taken the word mammon way too far, in that they try to explain off mammon as some kind of mysterious pagan god, but that's not so. The Greek root for mammon, down here, right? This is mamona, it's M-A-M-O-N-A, mamona. The Greek root for mammon is mammonas. It means mammon. Mammon should be spelled with an M-A-M-O-N, single M. But even in my notes here, I have it as two M's because the commonly accepted English spelling is M-A-M-M-O-N. But it should be one M, M-A-M-O-N, right? One middle M. Mammonas means mammon, wealth personified, meaning wealth, but treated like if wealth was a person. Greed as a god that we serve. And in this verse, it means what is trusted in. It also means treasure and riches. Albert Barnes identified this mammon as a Syriac god idol that was worshipped as a god of riches. But Ellicott said that there's no reference to it, no evidence that it was a deity. Albert Barnes did more recent work than Ellicott, but I have no references to check for either of them. Jesus personifies the wealth here. He calls wealth like a person. You can't serve God, the person, or wealth as if it was a person. So he personified wealth here. Because many people, church people and non-church people, serve wealth as if it was a human master or a person master that gives us orders as it pleases. When possessions are elevated to such a position, the heart will grow to despise God. I love my car so much, or my house so much, or my jewelry so much, or my bank account so much. What? God says to be generous and give to the poor. I'll give them, but not from this. I'll hide that. Because I love my wealth so much. Possessions give us immediate gratification, no matter what it is. The immediate gratification. You build a fancy house for yourself, you just look at it, you sit in it, you walk around, and you're like, I love my house. You buy something nice to eat, you get immediate gratification as you eat it. But possessions don't give us wholesome and healthy futures because the basic nature of human beings doesn't always process this properly. That's why we have so many people making bad diet choices, bad financial decisions. You know you want to save. Let's say you want to save $500 for the month. You earn your salary and you're like, I really feel like eating KFC today. I can save $450. I'll buy $50 in KFC. And then if you spend that 50 every month, you lose $600 from your end of year savings. So that means you have to save longer towards whatever savings goal you were trying to reach, to buy that piece of equipment, to go and work that piece of equipment, or to build that investment so you can go and invest it in something. Immediate gratification from possessions. Immediate gratification from possessions often give an immediate endorphin rush that we can't see past because they give us this joy right now. We must learn to make financial decisions based on their impact on advancing the kingdom rather than the short-term gains they provide. I'm not saying don't buy flour if you need to buy flour to make bread for this week. I am saying, though, if you have a decision, buy this for self-indulgence now and deprive my future, or deprive my bigger goal, serving God, don't buy now. This verse is a warning for us against idolatry. And Colossians 3 verse 5 gives us a little greater detail. Check out the NLT for 3:5. So put to death the sinful earthly things lurking within you. Have nothing to do with sexual immorality, impurity, lust, and evil desires. Don't be greedy. For a greedy person is an idolater, worshiping the things of this world. So while you might read this and say, well, immorality, impurity, lust, and evil desires were listed separately, the sinful earthly things lurking within us are those, and we are greedy for them, worshiping the things of this world as we crave them. In case you feel stubborn to accept the full truth, that Colossians 3 verse 5 helps give some detail. It's another example of a verse that is hard to read, by the way, if you took that translation only. Let me show you the King James Version for this. Mortify, therefore, your members, which are upon the earth. Many people wouldn't be able to even understand what that means. Fornication, uncleanness. Everybody knows that. Inordinate affection, not so much. Evil concupiscence and covetousness, which is idolatry. Here, the King James becomes very difficult to read when compared against the other easier to read translations, because they're really, what is inordinate affection or evil concupiscence? Concupiscence, sorry. Those things, by the way, are what many in church leadership struggle with and they make headlines for. Strong sexual desire and lust. Catholic priests, they bring down all of Christendom because they target little boys. Now, granted, I'm one of the people who say, well, Catholics are not Christians because they worship Mary and they pray to Mary and they believe in doing good deeds to get to heaven and they believe in praying to saints and they believe in the gimmick nonsense that they do and having bishops and all this crap that they do to build this structure of men. But because the rest of the world don't understand that and they think Catholics are Christians too, and the Mormons as well, because they're not children of God either. Jehovah's Witnesses are not. Because the Catholics are grouped with us, when they sin, it reflects badly on all of us. And everybody knows Catholic priests like little boys. Not all, of course, but they make the news for that. If it's even 0.1% of Catholic priests interfering with little boys, the way the world looks at it is like 90% of them like little boys. Evil concupiscence. All right. Independent church pastors or some of the more charismatic church pastors are also caught for wickedness because they are masters at taking advantage of women and girls in their churches. So these priests and these pastors all have fallen for the temptation of lust. You talk to plenty of people who go to like churches where they know of the pastor, it's country churches, city churches, doesn't matter. They will tell you, yeah, he would this one, he would that one, he would that one. Evil concupiscence, inordinate affection. Bengal brings a fair bit of perspective as he started with the identification of the heart as the reason a person will choose God or mammon. If the heart is for God, the heart will despise mammon, money. I add that this is true even if you struggle with the desire for wealth. Here's why. A parallel I'll draw. An alcoholic or a person who is abusive to others, family, and so on. If an alcoholic or an abuser is convicted in his heart of his sin and turns to Jesus, it's possible for him or her to still have a desire for the alcohol or behaving abusively. It's still possible. You are set free from sin, so you can recognize that's sinful. Let me not do it. But your flesh may still crave to do it or to drink it. So a person can be separated from their sin, but the flesh might crave it. If the heart is for God, you will despise it, but your body will still be drawn to it. So you have a struggle to face. And it is true, if you have a heart for God, you can still struggle with chasing money or whatever your sin might be. Your decisions on a daily basis, what you choose to indulge your mind in first, determines if you like and you want temptation and trouble, or if you love God and you have the discipline to chase after righteousness. In truth, the servants of Mammon do indeed hate God. For real. Because living for God means we don't value our wealth so greatly. And if they serve their money, they won't care too much for what God wants them to do with their money. You think about this. There are people who attend churches or whatever, and they'll tell you, well, I give the church plenty money. But if you check how much money they give the church compared to how much money they spend on their entertainment and indulgence, there is no comparison. I give the church $5,000, but on entertainment and indulgences, they spend $50,000. And yes, there are households that do that. Put this on yourself now. If you gave your church $50, did you go and spend $50 or close to 50 on entertainment for yourself? And the answer is usually no. Be mindful how you spend your cash. Pulpit commentary shares that Jesus is not contrasting God and Satan here. God and money, not God and Satan, because God is continuing the flow, as we mentioned earlier, of not laying up earthly treasures. I'd say too that many people who are wealth focused, they console themselves thinking the devil is not their master. So they'll be in good standing with God. I don't serve the devil. I'm not sacrificing babies or children. I'm not worshiping the devil. I'm not, I don't know, whatever devil people do. I'm not doing that. I'm working hard, earning money to give to church. Except, they'll give church $50 and go and spend 5,000 on themselves. That's not even right. Those people say the devil is not their master, but the money is. They wouldn't say that, but the behavior shows the money is. John Gill shared that the Jews were worshippers of mammon, not as a recognized religion, of course, not as a recognized God, of course, but as a lifestyle that they lived, a culture that prioritized riches. I have a little piece here. How can the pursuit of money be in conflict with God if I earn money honorably? Because I told you all, earning money dishonorably is wrong outright. But what if I do something that's decent? I earn my money decently. So I'm going to specify here because the blind or stupid or self-indulgent person may not see the evil in his actions. If you are earning a lot of money through your employment or your business, it is still in contradiction with God's word if you are less concerned with other people's well-being than the word. Treating workers in your business, treating co-workers if you work somewhere, or supervisors or customers, treating any stakeholder poorly, favoring certain people because because they have more potential use for you, favoring those people, setting unreal standards for workers so they could never get up to the standard and you don't have to treat them or pay them bonuses, dehumanizing people in your workplace, lying as part of your job, spreading ungodly messages through the business itself, or the music and entertainment in your business, or the music and entertainment you associate your business with. Using images that induce lust, feed into vanity or pride. These are all things that bring your honorable business in conflict with God still. So you can still be doing a decent job or working at a decent job, but in the course of carrying out your job, you are still dishonoring God. Consider that, please. Don't lie to yourselves. Don't be fooled just because I don't look as bad as the other guy. To close off on this, no man or woman today can say that he doesn't have desires aside from God. We're human. In this case that we looked at, the desires that Jesus are demonizing are the desires for wealth, riches, possession, and money. There's nothing wrong with having money. There's nothing wrong with going after and working for money. But the person that elevates these things above God, such a person has failed. And in effect, such a person hates God. Don't let that be yourself. Don't let the need for survival cloud your judgment so you don't see God's favor as less valuable than monetary gain. That's easy a trap to fall into. Well, God will favor me if I do this, but if I gamble, I'll make more money. You can have enough money for a surgery, but a healthy body is far more valuable, even though it doesn't come with attached money. Because the pain and suffering to go through for surgery, to realize you have a problem and you need surgery, and to recover from surgery, You can't put a price on that. So earning money at the cost of your health, bad idea. Same thing, earning money at the cost of your child's health and well-being, or your neighbor, or your friends, or your relatives' relationship with God. That's a problem. I will stop there. I say thanks to all our live audience who are here. I do appreciate the live audience that came in. And I thank all of you who are watching on Facebook and or YouTube for joining us on August 5th for number 203, our Bible study into Matthew 6, verse 24, the 77th Bible study in the Matthew series. Thanks to all of you. God bless you and have a good night.